What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Nick's Picks Week 4. The total score right now is 33-31, me versus Ben. Once again, I am joined by my friend Ben. Ben, how you doing?
Oh, sorry, I forgot my line, just how Atlanta keeps forgetting to hold their leads in the fourth quarter.
Week 4, it is 33-31. That means this is getting even closer. Ben actually did catch up by a point this last week. He got his 2-point conversion barely, and I missed mine barely, but we'll get into all that later. The Thursday night game, the New York Jets against the Denver Broncos. The third week in a row, we get a crappy Thursday night game, but that's Thursday night for you. I really honestly think the NFL just doesn't care about Thursday night. But the Broncos and the Jets, to me, I mean, I'm not even sure if Drew Lock comes back this week. I'm not sure about any of this, but the Jets, besides the Giants, are probably the worst team in the league. Sam Darnold is getting worse. Nobody on this team knows how to play. Like, Le'Veon Bell is just kind of getting lost in that mix. I don't even know if he's still like playing at this point. So the Denver Broncos, I do have winning this game 13-10 over the New York Jets, but like 13-10 because I don't believe in either of these teams. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, boring game.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, it's kind of, I think it's going to be a little, I hate to say exciting because I don't think it's going to be. But, like, I think it's going to be a little more exciting for a Thursday night early on, but take that with a grain of salt. I do have Denver, though, winning 20-14 because the Jets, here's the thing. Even if the Jets did have Jamal Adams, he would have maybe helped him out a little bit. But, like, the Jets as a whole, I don't think they have a direction. I don't know why Adam Gase is still the head coach. I don't know what's going on with either New York team. The only good team in New York is Buffalo, apparently, at this point.
Whoa, yeah. Stop the presses. Ben said something good about Buffalo. Hold up. All right, sorry.
Flashing lights, sirens.
Moving on to the second game, the first Sunday game of the week, the LA Rams going up against my team, the New York Giants. And look, I finally didn't pick the Giants last week, but I kept it a close game. And against a team of all injured, like there was no Jimmy Garoppolo, there was no Bosa, there was no they had nobody. The 49ers had nobody, and the Giants scored 9 points and gave up 36. So I am so frustrated with the Giants right now. I'm so frustrated with this team. I have the LA Rams winning this one 38-14 over the New York Giants. I'm sick of Daniel Jones. I'm just sick of this whole team. 38-14 Rams.
Wow, so you're finally willing to give up on the Giants?
I already gave up.
It took me with Atlanta too. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, the Giants got their butt whooped by the Niners JV team, and now they're playing an actual starting full team, or at least fully healthy team, as weird as it might sound in the NFL so far. But I got the Rams winning this one 30-6. 30-6, because the Giants have nothing. Like, I don't even know what they could even come up with at this point. Like, they're tanking
a number one pick
really hard.
That's what they can come up with, a number one pick. All right. Next, the Indianapolis Colts going at the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago has shocked everybody this year. They started off the season 3-0. Indianapolis doing about what I thought they would do this year. But look, this Chicago team, I don't even want to say they're good. I think they're surprising a lot of people. I don't have much to say about Chicago. I really don't even know what to make of this team yet. I still don't think they're a playoff team. I think Nick Foles is the right move to bench Trubisky and put in Foles, but that's only going to do so much. I'm giving the win to the Colts here. I have the Colts winning 24-21. This rematch of Super Bowl 41, I have the Colts winning again 24-21.
They have faced no competition. They have faced the Detroit Lions. They've faced the New York Giants, and they played the Atlanta Falcons. Now, you could argue Atlanta. Yes, they choked it last game.
In Detroit, they beat Arizona.
You could argue Atlanta was the only good team they faced this entire season.
Detroit beat Arizona.
Okay, Detroit's a wild card. Nothing's good in Detroit, honestly. But that being said, I am surprised by Chicago, and there's only one reason why I am picking them to beat Indianapolis, and that's because they have good old Saint Nick, and they finally realized Mitchell Trubisky cannot play quarterback. I don't know how it took them this long, but they finally realized it. I have the Bears winning this one 28-24, but I do have the Bears winning this one. It's a close game, but I do think Nick Foles is a difference maker, but we'll wait and see. I'm not fully sold on them just yet, but they have an easy schedule for the first couple of weeks, and then it starts getting, once they play the Packers in the meat of their schedule, then we'll see what they are.
All right, another subpar game to watch that the only people who will be watching this game are probably the fans of these two teams. But the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Joe Burrow has had a rocky start. I don't even want to say rocky. He's had a mediocre start to the beginning of the season. Jacksonville surprised a few teams to start the year, but kind of showed themselves last week that they weren't as good as we all thought they might be. So this one is another tough one for me. I do think Joe Burrow starts to play a little better here, as he's now playing slightly less of a defense. I'm going to give the Cincinnati Bengals this win 27-17, but look, Joe Burrow has a lot of work to do with this team. Like, there's not a whole lot of talent on this team. So I understand why Joe Burrow's struggling, but against a team like Jacksonville, I feel like he should have a good enough game to get them the win.
Yeah, I'm with you on Joe Burrow. I think he eventually has to, I want to say show up, because he's not really playing bad necessarily. He's just not playing great. Like, is he living up to being the number one overall pick? No. But is he necessarily playing bad? No, not really. But he also is playing Jacksonville, so I think he has a chance. They should have probably won last week against Philly, but I got Cincinnati winning this one in a close one, 20-17 over Jacksonville. But it wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville wins it, because it's kind of a toss-up to me at this point. I literally just flipped a coin for this, in all honesty.
Okay, now as much as I despise the Dallas Cowboys, I have to give them a little bit of credit here. They are 1-2, which is tied for the NFC East, the very crappy NFC East, but they barely lost to Seattle, one possession game against Seattle. They barely lost to LA, who's actually a decent team, the Rams, and they beat the team that they should have beat, which was the Falcons. Now, they didn't win by a lot, but they beat the team. So the Cowboys have had a tougher schedule to start the year. So I do have to give them the benefit of the doubt. But Cleveland, on the other hand, they're underperforming. For as good as this roster is, Baker Mayfield is doing absolutely nothing this year. Odell, I have not heard anything out of him, which is very surprising for a guy as outspoken as Odell Beckham Jr. So it looks like there's a lot more problems in Cleveland than we had originally had thought at the beginning of the season. And as for the Cowboys, I just feel like they're a better team than their record shows. So I'm going to give the Cowboys the win here, 31-24 over the Cleveland Browns. But as far as the NFC East goes, Dallas obviously looks the best out of any of those teams. I mean, yes, that's the shiniest of all turds, but they are playing pretty well against top teams in this league like the Seahawks and the LA Rams.
We said it, I believe it was our week 1 or week 2 game picks, that the Cowboys play to the level of their competition. And that means when they play a really good team like Seattle, and you could argue Atlanta to a degree when it comes to their offense at least, they play really, really well. When they play terrible teams, they somehow seem to F it up. And I don't know how, I don't know why with that talented roster. That being said, they're playing the Browns, the epitome of a dumpster fire. That is why I have, we want to call it an upset, I don't know if you want to call it an upset, but that's why I have Cleveland winning this one 24-17, because somehow, some way, Dallas will screw it up, even though they'll still end up winning the division probably at like 7-9, because that's just the NFC East. That's not the Cowboys being bad, it's just the NFC East being that terrible.
Okay, the New Orleans Saints against the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions did surprise me last week by knocking off the Arizona Cardinals. The New Orleans Saints, on the other hand, have had a lot of problems. But Michael Thomas might come back this week. Drew Brees is Drew Brees is not struggling as much as you think he is. Yes, he can't pass it downfield, and that's a problem. But he has a lot of playmakers on this team. He knows what he needs to do to win games. There is nothing wrong with Drew Brees. I really think that people need to lay off him a little bit. If he gets Michael Thomas back, this team is easily a playoff team still. No question about it. Detroit, on the other hand, not a playoff team. Not even close to a playoff team. So New Orleans is a much better team than Detroit. That I don't think that's very arguable. I do give the Saints the win here, 27-10. I do think Drew Brees gets that 300 yards that he fell 12 yards short of on me last week. But that's Drew Brees.
We'll see.
You better do better this week.
For me, I got the Saints, and it's really not that hard of a choice for me. Yes, they have struggled, but Alvin Kamara is basically doing what Christian McCaffrey did for the Panthers last season, just trying to carry this team, especially with Michael Thomas being out. And also, Drew Brees is not really having a bad season. He has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and completing 70% of his passes. So he's really not having a bad season. It's just bad by his standard, because that's how great of a quarterback he is. We were saying about Aaron Rodgers last season, and guess what? Aaron Rodgers is still a top 5 quarterback, arguably, and then you could argue that with Drew Brees. So I got the Saints winning this one 28-17. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than the score might let on, just because I think the Saints are still struggling on defense. But I do think Drew Brees, he is that great of a quarterback to still pull away in a convincing win.
All right, now we're not 100% sure what is going to happen with this game. We know it's been postponed, whether it's going to be played Monday or Tuesday, or if it's even going to get canceled. We really don't know. But we're still going to pick the game just in case it does get played. The Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Tennessee Titans on whatever day this ends up being. Look, these are two very good teams, and this was probably one of the hardest games to pick just because, I can see this one really going either way. I'm going to give it to the Titans, though, just because I do think their offense is a bit better than the Steelers' offense. I mean, you could argue the Steelers' defense is a bit better than the Titans' defense, but I just think Derrick Henry is going to do enough to help kind of negate that difference. So I chose kind of a weird score here. I went 26-17 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just know this was a really tough one to pick. I really like the Steelers' defense. I really like Tennessee's offense. I mean, a lot of people don't really like Ryan Tannehill as a franchise quarterback. I think he does enough to make this offense work, especially when he has Derrick Henry. So I'm going to have to give this one to Tennessee just for the fact that I just think overall Tennessee's a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tennessee is slightly better, and I mean, obviously, if we look at it by matchup-wise, I think Pittsburgh has the overall better defense. You got T.J. Watt, who could arguably be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate early on. I think he's doing amazing. Roethlisberger has definitely impressed me and surprised me with how well he's playing. Not because he's a bad quarterback, because I thought there would be some kind of drop-off, especially because coming off a huge injury that he did have. I think it was a shoulder injury. I got Tennessee winning this one 24-21 in a very close game because I think Derrick Henry is able to carry that team, no pun intended, to a win here in a close game. Again, 24-21 in favor of Tennessee.
Seattle going up against the Miami Dolphins. This one's a very easy one for us to pick. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this at all. 38-13, I have the Seahawks beating the Dolphins. Look, Miami's offense is absolutely awful. Russell Wilson is going to tear through this Miami defense. I really don't think there's much more to be said.
Yeah, I'm with you. Russell Wilson is, I think we can agree on this. I think he is head and shoulders the clear-cut MVP candidate through the first 3 weeks. He is just lighting up the league right now. I think he's trying to prove his statement of him saying that he's the best quarterback. I still think it's Patrick Mahomes, but Wilson is not far behind, and I got them winning in a blowout 42-10. It's Miami. I don't know what to say about them. Maybe might get Tua in this game. Who knows? But it's not even a close game.
All right, so here is my upset of the week. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have played okay to start the season. Honestly, though, I don't think they've had too much competition beyond the Saints that they played, and they lost that game. So even though they're 2-1, I don't think they've played fully up to their potential yet this season. Now, for the Chargers, I really thought was going to play really well last week with Herbert having his first full start as a quarterback. He played really well against the Chiefs, so I thought he was going to beat the Panthers. He didn't end up doing so, but I think this is the week that Herbert really shows himself. I think now he's comfortable. I think he's going to play pretty well, and I think this Chargers defense is going to play pretty well. I know the Chargers are riddled with injuries right now, but I mean, who isn't? I really do think the Chargers get this win. This is my upset of the week. Chargers 24-23 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm actually with you on it being an upset, mainly because I think Tampa Bay still, yes, they're 2-1, but I don't think they've actually fully clicked because, again, their first week, they played against the Saints and they really were on point, and then they didn't really play that much competition. Yeah, they played the Raiders. I can't remember who the other opponent was on top of my head.
The Panthers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And again, they haven't really played that much competition with Carolina in there too. And I think the Chargers might pull away on an upset here. I got them winning 26-24 because I think Herbert is he is a rookie, so I don't think we should say he's overrated or underrated, but I do think a lot of people were underestimating how good he was going to be or could be. Especially against the defending champs in Kansas City, and I think he showed out. Yes, he fumbled last week, but I think he can bounce back and beat a very good Tampa team. It's not that Tampa's a bad team. I just think the Chargers are going to catch them slipping this week.
All right, another fairly easy game to pick. The Baltimore Ravens going up against the Washington football team. Now, I know Lamar Jackson did not perform very well against the Kansas City Chiefs last week, and the Kansas City Chiefs don't have like the greatest defense, so you can't even say, oh, well, it's the Chiefs. I just think Lamar in the spotlight, he just didn't have a good game. He's going to be fine. He's going to play Washington. He's going to torch Washington. Don't even worry about Lamar Jackson. One bad game does not make him a bad quarterback. I really hate that about NFL fans, how they have one bad game and instantly it's like, oh yeah, he's trash. So I do have the Ravens winning this one 33-20 over the Washington football team. But look, Lamar Jackson is going to be fine the rest of the season. Don't worry about the one game against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't even say it's just because of the Chiefs' defense. I think it was just because of the Chiefs' offense put so much pressure on the Ravens that they had to put Lamar out of his comfort zone, and I don't think that Washington's going to do that. Washington doesn't have a good enough defense, and certainly not an offense even close to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I got them winning in a blowout as well, 32-14. Lamar Jackson's going to show that he's still the reigning MVP. It's not really, he's not facing that much competition this week, honestly.
Okay, the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, I've been talking really highly on the last 2 weeks. Carolina Panthers have kind of secretly been a pretty good team this year, so I really could see this one also going either way. Arizona did kind of screw it a little last week against Detroit. I do think they bounce back this week and get a 21-16 victory over the Carolina Panthers, but look, don't sleep on either of these teams because both of these teams have a lot of talent on offense, and I think that both teams' defenses are good enough to get them into the playoffs. So where I don't think the Carolina Panthers do make the playoffs, I do think that they are a big sleeper team, but I have to give this one to Arizona just because I feel like they're just more complete right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Honestly, I really don't feel comfortable picking Carolina as long as Christian McCaffrey is still injured, just because he is such a huge focal point of their offense. Not even just running the ball, just catching the ball. So because of that, and because I think the Cardinals have like you said, a more complete team, and even more so a more complete offense. I think Kyler Murray is going to bounce back, and they'll win this one. I have them winning 30-17 over the Panthers. Mainly because I think Arizona is still a more complete team. They're not as riddled with injuries like Carolina is, or really most of the league is at this point. So I still have them winning this one 30-17.
All right, so last year, this would have been a really, really interesting game to watch. This year, we're just trying to find out which one of these teams is finally going to get a win. Look, I don't know what's wrong with the Vikings. I really can't pinpoint one thing that's wrong with the Vikings. I know what's wrong with the Texans. Bill O'Brien's getting rid of everybody. So I'm giving this one to the Vikings 28-14. Just because I feel like they're a better team than they're playing. I understand they played Green Bay, they lost. They played the Titans last week, they lost. Another good team. So they're playing good teams. So I don't want to just say Minnesota sucks just because they're 0-3. It's way too early in the season to be saying that about teams like Minnesota who have as much talent as they do. But I really don't know what their problem is beyond Kirk Cousins. I really don't. So I'm going to give them the win. I just feel like they have more weapons now. They don't have Bill Bryan pulling them back. So 28-14 over the Houston Texans.
I really do think Minnesota is better than their record is letting on, just mainly because I do agree, because who they played. They played the Packers, they played the Colts, and they played the Titans. Two of those three are really good teams, and the reason I say the Colts aren't is because I think the Colts are just an average team, but I think Kirk Cousins is the problem in Minnesota. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't know why they signed him. You needed a quarterback, and he was better than Case Keenum, who they had, but at the end of the day, I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback to lead your team, and I do have a lot of faith in Deshaun Watson. It might be because he's honestly one of my favorite young quarterbacks in the league, and it might be some bias in there, but I do have the Texans winning this one 28-20. Still a close game, but I do think Deshaun Watson is overall the better quarterback, and I think that's going to be more of the difference maker in this game among anything else.
All right, this game, we finally get a good game. Finally a good game. I was close.
Hallelujah.
I was close. I almost picked the Patriots this week. Now, here's why I'm picking Kansas City. New England's defense. Beyond Stephon Gilmore, I really think Patrick Mahomes is going to torch this defense. Now, Cam Newton is going to do a lot in this game, and I think he's going to prove to a lot of people that he's a lot better than having to wait as long as he did to get signed. But I I really don't know what else to say. Like, I mean, this is going to be a great game. I can 100% see the Patriots winning this thing. I just, my gut, my instinct tells me don't go against Patrick Mahomes. He's easily the best quarterback. I wouldn't say easily. It's between him and Russell Wilson, the best quarterback in the league. He's got so many weapons around him. The Chiefs are one of the few teams in the league that aren't being riddled with injuries. So I got to go with the Chiefs on this one. I'm going to keep it close, 32-28. Over the New England Patriots.
Yeah, it's going to be a very close game. I want to admit, I was very close to picking New England. I was very, very close, but I do agree with you. It's because of the Patriots teams. And they don't have a bad defense by any stretch of the imagination. And Bill Belichick is a great defensive coach and really just a great coach in general, arguably the greatest coach in NFL history. But there's so much you can do. The one thing the Patriots do is they always say, okay, who's your top weapon? We're going to minimize that. If it's Tyreek Hill and they put Stephon Gilmore on Tyreek Hill, okay, well, we'll just throw it to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie. Or we'll throw it to Sammy Watkins or Mikael Hartman or Travis Kelce. They have so many. But I do think it's going to be a close game nonetheless. I have Casey winning this one 24-20. Just because you can't count New England out of this game.
Obviously, we know what Ben is going to do here. Just get ready for him to pick the Raiders. But let me talk for a second here. The Buffalo Bills are 3-0. That means Ben has lost 3 straight picks on not picking Buffalo. Ben, after 3 straight, you learned your lesson about Atlanta. I learned my lesson about the Giants. I think you also need to learn your lesson about Buffalo. This team can play. Now, the Raiders have had some good moments this year too, but I got to keep going with Buffalo. This team is just... Josh Allen is a monster. I don't mean like he's a great core. I mean like just a beast. You see those trucks against the Jets. I mean, you mentioned it last week. But I think this is going to stay somewhat close. I do have them winning 23-13, but I can see the Raiders winning this one. I can see Buffalo choking one eventually. But look, Buffalo is a real team to look at this year. I think they're the best team in the AFC East. I think they'll beat New England, but you just got to stop hating on Buffalo, my guy.
All right, so I was wrong. I will admit where I am wrong about Josh Allen.
You are wrong.
But thank you, roommate. At the end of the day, I still don't believe in Josh Allen. However, I also know that the Raiders, although they're a solid team, are not going to beat the Buffalo Bills. So for the first time
Hallelujah!
in this entire series, as of right now, because I stand by it, as of right now, I still don't believe in Josh Allen, but I do know the Raiders don't have a defense. I said even last week it was going to be a close. It was very close between the Rams and the Bills. I was really teetering, and I only went with the Rams slightly because of Jared Goff, and he proved that he actually still isn't that great of a quarterback. I still stand by that, and Josh Allen proved that he's better than Jared Goff by every stretch of the imagination. So I got Buffalo winning this one 30-24 for the first time this entire series. I have them winning a game, but I don't think they're going to beat New England because it's still New England.
All right, so the 49ers JV team, 2 weeks in a row, has managed to beat the 2 shit teams in New York, but they're playing pretty well. I mean, just from the eye test, they're playing pretty well. They're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, who have also struggled quite a bit this season. Now, you can say Carson Wentz's struggles have been because he's missing his offensive coordinator. Well, that's not a fixable thing. The offensive coordinator is not coming back. So I do think that Carson Wentz is going to struggle a little bit more in this game. Even if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't end up playing this week, I think the only thing that changes would be my score. But I do have this as a close one. The 49ers winning this one 24-23 over the Philadelphia Eagles, just because, look, Philly is a team kind of like Minnesota, where I really can't pinpoint one thing that's wrong with them beyond their quarterback.
The Eagles have lost to a team in week 1 without a name. They got their butts handed to them by the LA Rams, and they tied with the Bengals, which should basically just be a loss at that point because you should not even be in a close game with the Bengals. Even though I picked the Bengals to win this week, it's still the Bengals. With that being said, it's the Niners JV team who has beaten up the Jets and the Giants, and they'll beat up on the Philadelphia Eagles. I have the Niners winning this one 32-10. The Eagles, I don't know what is with the Carson Wentz. You can't blame the OC because even if he's gone, at the end of the day, Carson Wentz, he has talent, but at one point you got to look at him and say, you're the problem.
The final game of the week, the Monday night game, the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know you're a Falcons fan and you're very, very hurt about what they've done this season. Cough, cough, blowing every lead possible.
I'm numb to it. I've become numb at this point.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to pick the Packers here, 35-24. But the Atlanta Falcons do have an insane offense, so I don't think it's time to fully panic yet. I think once you get rid of Mike Smith, once you figure out a defensive scheme that works, I think Atlanta will go back to being like a 10-6, 11-5 team.
Well, first off, it's not Mike Smith, it's Dan Quinn. But I don't blame you for mixing them up because they both have been trash. They were both trash, honestly. You know, Mike Smith had a few good years when he was our coach, and then he bottomed down. We fired him. Dan Quinn has had a few good seasons, and now he's starting to bottom out. And
at this point, does it matter who the Falcons coach is?
Honestly, at this point, I really don't know. At this point, it's just this team. I will still be loyal. I will still be loyal. The only thing that would ever change was first off, I have Green Bay winning this one 34-21. Like, it's not even going to be close. Aaron Rodgers is on another level. Matt Ryan, the offense is a great offense. They have a good offense. The defense is just so crippled. Like, the defense, it's just their offense is fine. Atlanta's offense is fine. It's the defense just forgets to play in the fourth quarter. Green Bay is going to run house. You know, one thing's for certain: Atlanta will not blow a lead in this game because they will not have a lead in this game. If they somehow have a lead, even if it's a field goal, they could be up 3-0. I'm like, okay, we're gonna choke this lead.
The real question is, how many points is Atlanta going to be up before they blow it? That's the real question.
They want to have a lead the entire game.
All right, so transitioning over to our 2-point conversions. Now, I was talking about it a little bit when we were going through the Philly versus 49er game, and that Carson Wentz just hasn't performed very well this season. Now, look, actually, let me give you my 2-point conversion first, and then I'll explain a little bit. So my 2-point conversion is that Jalen Hurts, the quarterback that the Philadelphia Eagles picked in either the second or third round this last year, I think he's going to see some playing time at quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles this season. Now, Eagles fans, before you jump on me for that, I understand Carson Wentz has a $150 million contract or something. No, the Eagles are not going to give up on Carson Wentz. He's way too expensive. They've committed to him way too much. They're not just going to give up on Carson Wentz. But there has to be a reason that the Eagles picked up Jalen Hurts. And I think that reason is going to be for them to throw him into the game here and there and use him as trade bait to get somebody else. Carson Wentz is too young for the Eagles to have just picked him for no reason. So I do think he's going to see some playing time at quarterback in this game. And I think that'll be for the Eagles to show the rest of the league, hey, look, we have this backup. If anybody wants him, make us an offer.
I think that's a very bold prediction because I think it's very plausible, especially because, I mean, in my game, I have the Niners completely blowing them out. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like, the game's out of hand and they put Jalen Hurts in just to, see what he has and just kind of evaluate him even against the Niners JV team, which is apparently is still a good team, apparently. But in my 2-point conversion, I'm kind of piggybacking off of last week. Instead of 2 quarterbacks going to be doing that, it's going to be 1 quarterback, and it's who I think is the MVP. It's going to be Russell Wilson. He's going to go off. Yes, it is Miami, so take that with a grain of salt, but he is going to go off for 500 total yards passing and rushing and 5 total touchdowns. I think he's just going to show out and show up. I was originally going to do like 100 yards rushing. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do the total yards because I'm a little safer, but at the end of the day, I still think it's very lawfully for even Russell Wilson to do, but I do think he can do it.
Once again, our score is 33-31 currently for these predictions. If you remember, whoever ends up having the least amount of points after the AFC and NFC Championship will have to eat a ghost pepper or the ghost pepper sauce for the Super Bowl special, and it'll be before any of the picks. So they're going to have to go through their Super Bowl pick while dying from heat. So guys, I appreciate you guys staying with the picks. If you go to my channel and sort by most popular, these picks have more views than most of my other videos besides the first one that came out. But guys, I really appreciate you guys listening to these picks. I mean, it's really just me and Ben just kind of spouting off random football facts that we know and giving random scores. But look, I appreciate you guys coming out. I hope you guys have a great day. Ben, is there anything you want to say to the people before we sign off for week 4?
Dan Quinn needs to be fired.
Another Falcons shot at the end. Guys, have a great one. Peace.